occurred. And Doug jumped up and said, my God, Fred tells those stories as if he did that. So he even stole our stories. He not only stole our methods, he stole our stories as well. This guy is really sick, folks.
Yeah, it is. It's actually psychotic. You can't be wrong. And I don't want to berate him. I mean, everybody's got their cross to bear. Nobody's perfect, but Fred himself says he was abused by his dad. If he didn't win a wrestling match, he stained his whole lineage back 1,000 years because they were the king of the hill, and he has to be king. So, it comes from somewhere, and he's a psychologist, and he just wants to trump everybody. And God bless him. God bless his soul. I hope he helps people, but if he's not, God help him. And I don't hear too many people, being helped by him. I wanted to. I tried to. I'm open to it right now. Prove me wrong. You got my telephone number. He's got my email. I'm still waiting for the product that I purchased. He claims he doesn't have to provide it or something. Who knows? He'll teach you contract law, but apparently he's above it all. He's above the line. Everybody else is below because he's king. And if you don't bend the knee, then you're rejected. And that's fine. I'm glad I was ejected. It took me a little longer than most. I'm not the smartest guy. The money he got from me, I gave to him. But for product and services, there you go. You still got a contractual obligation to perform. And if I have financial records that show you get the money, I'm still waiting for you to provide the product. I purchased 10 PCNs at $450, 2 at $250. I got a bunch of the hydrolyzers that you put on the car. It took me months to get any of those. The hydrolyzers don't work. The PCNs, the personal credit numbers, they send a number, no ID. So they're promising a product that has component A and B, but they only give A and not B, and they tell you to take a hike when you ask for B. Incomplete product, and it's your fault. And, like everybody has said, when Fred feels crossed by you or whatever, he gets vicious. And it's not pleasant, but I have yet to see him threaten me in a court of law, and I would love to see it. So everybody else being threatened about affidavits, it's funny how I've got my records, and I know what to say. So bring it on, and that's my experience. I have many, many more. He advised me in the courtroom. He made monumental mistakes. He was filing his motions, conveying to classes that the court's in a conspiracy against him not to hear his motions, when in fact if you fail to ask for a motions hearing, the court's not required to give you one. So you get what you ask for. When you don't understand the procedure, you get what you ask for. And the court can take advantage of you in so many different ways. It's to their advantage. And, there's a lot of work to be done. Jack and Margie emphasized the rules. I know a bunch of people out here, including myself, are arrested. I drew it to myself. I made myself available for an arrest. I pushed the issue. I wanted the education. I wouldn't recommend it. But I can tell you I got ill advice from Fred. The initial advice was good, but it soured in the midst of the battle, and that's when you really need the stuff to work. And, he also just disappears on you. And they love to give you information at the last minute because they are addicted to the adrenaline rush or something. They love it when the sheriff's kicking in the door. They answer those phone calls. They love it when there's a direct threat. But, this stuff is boring unless you can offer them enough money, apparently. And even then, lucky if you get them on the phone. And as I said, I brought it to their attention myself. Yet, apparently you're too busy. And it was not just once I heard them respond. We're amazed when we hear that we're too busy because we're the ones getting the phone calls and emails. We know who's calling us and who's emailing us. And if you're not getting a response, It's too bad for you because we're not going to deal with you. We'll take your money, but we're not going to deal with you. And we only have common courtesy to let you know that. And I can't tell you, I literally, dozens and dozens of people at classes, I would tell them, look, if you think Fred's going to help you, think again. It's impossible, physically impossible, for the guy to talk to hundreds and hundreds of people and help them all. So when he tells you he is, get a clue, help yourself, and study it on your own, which is what I did. And then he confronted me for studying on my own and threatened me and told me, do I know what he does when people mix his material with other people's material? And because he was gone for months, what else am I going to do? I'm facing answering a lot of questions in court and out for a lot of people. And he threatens me at dinner in front of a bunch of people, witnesses, that that if I mix material, he's going to let me walk into court and burn and hang. And I couldn't believe what he said. But what happened in court in suing, either he was negligent or ignorant in his advice to me, by design or on purpose or by negligence or ignorance, who cares? Either way, presenting himself as an expert in a class and then falling flat in the battle isn't going to help me. And I thank my lucky stars that I was able to connect with Jack and Margie, because he viciously threatened anybody who would attempt to go around him and communicate with them. And if it wasn't for a dear friend of mine who was in big trouble, lots of charges, who he had taken a lot of money from and left high and dry. And I called Jack and Margie. I said, I'm taking a big chance. I'm spending all my political capital making this phone call. I don't want to say anything bad about Fred and Nina, but my friend here is in trouble. And I'm asking if you can help him. And I just think they're busy, but I need some help for them. And there you have it. That was the beginning of the end. And the next time Fred and Nina badmouthed Jack and Margie, the folks here, Cy and others, were trying to get them to commit to a conference or a class with Jack and Margie and Sheriff Richard Mack. And Fred and Nina refused. And so the question came up, why? Why wouldn't you want to collaborate? Okay, this is not to be repeated, he said to the people standing there. Sit down and we'll tell you. And he said, if Jack and Margie hear about this, we'll never forgive you, Doug, in front of everybody. And I'm thinking, whatever. So what, you think I'm going to, not tell people who have integrity that other people are threatening? So of course I'm going to tell Jack and Margie. But anyway, so there you have it. He's like, Jack and Margie have trashed us. They've ruined our reputation. They try to destroy our classes wherever we go. And they had been to exactly 2 classes and had said nothing bad, and had only supported them to the extent that they said before, except for the EFTs. And they were very clear about that. So it's just a conundrum at the best, and a purposeful malintent on the other hand. And who knows? That's my experience, and I can continue on and on because literally I had 6 months of them. So
yeah, we've been on for over 2 hours now.
All right, thank you very much.
Doug, thank you very much for sharing. So if you have another story, speak up now. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and close out the call. Anyone? Okay. Well, folks, thank you very much for showing up tonight and for sharing your stories. Wow, it's just amazing. People are losing their homes, losing their cars, having their paychecks garnished, being arrested, being visited by the FBI, on and on. And if this is the kind of stuff that's going on, we need to know it. Other people need to know it because, if you're not understanding what's happening to other people, you are going to be blindsided when it happens to you.
We can say that what happened to the people in Hawaii, okay, will happen to the people who are attending Fred and Nina's seminars now in about 3 months, okay? And what we're trying to do, what Tad is trying to do, what Margie and I are trying to do, and Doug and Cy and Paul and the others on the call, Mish and Michelle, we're trying to help people help themselves by getting away from Fred and Nina once they learn the truth. The problem is that there aren't a lot of people out there willing to broadcast the truth. Tad is. And I've told him we've spoken to several other radio hosts who wanted us on their program, but they did not want us to discuss anything about Fred and Nina or how Fred and Nina are harming people, and we refused. Tad's the only one we've met so far who's willing to broach this subject and tell the truth to the people. Unless the people know the truth, they're dealing with a falsehood. Unless they deal with a reality, they're dealing with a falsehood. And what you heard tonight, folks, are real stories from real people who've been damaged by Fred and Nina. Now, a lot of other people in Hawaii would like to speak, but they're very shy. Margie, you want to say something on that note?
I just want to encourage everyone who has been involved with the process and has had an unsatisfactory or disastrous experience to find your voice and be willing to speak, whether it's on this call or something else, whether you're willing to make affidavits, file complaints with the authorities. It's time for people to stand up and tell the truth, because it would really be morally irresponsible to allow Fred and Nina to continue to deceive people the way they are. And when someone knows something is wrong and they don't do anything to caution people about it, then there's complicity in the wrongdoing. And I don't believe that the people who've been victimized by Fred and Nina have looked at it this way, and I think they need to. Maybe they're so caught up with their own problems and worries that they haven't wanted to even broach the subject. Maybe they're embarrassed. Maybe they're too angry. They're afraid they can't speak coherently. But we really do need to think about our responsibilities as human beings. And if we have the opportunity to prevent someone else from being harmed, then we do have a moral and an ethical duty to do so. So please think about it and take action.
All right, folks. Jack, Margie, thank you so much for sharing your experience and your down-to-earth comments and helping people. I mean, the people on this call have spoken very highly of you, and I think that says a lot. So,
well, as you know, we are followers of the Supreme Law, and as followers of the Supreme Law, we in our groups have won many, many hundreds of cases. We've done all sorts of things to benefit people, and the people can benefit themselves if they get back to the Constitution and take the time and the effort to learn it and how to proceed in court, instead of dealing with these quick fix artists that never seem to help the people. The artists help themselves. They take the people's money, then the people lose their homes, their cars, their trucks, whatever,
right.
And that's a disaster. Now, on the other hand, if the EFTs had a 95% track record or an 80% track record, we would be supporting them. But they don't, okay? And they don't because there is no lawful basis whatsoever for an EFT. If there were, then there would be some validity to it. There's none. So be careful, folks. And thank you, Tad. We appreciated this call tonight.
And I thank you. And, folks, that wraps up this call. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. Good night.